Hello, and welcome to Surviving the Narcissist. This is Wanda, and on this channel, we look at narcissism from a personal. I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor, and I went from being a survivor, a thriver, and now I'm an overcomer. And my mission is to help you survive the narcissist, to escape, and so that you can be all that you were meant to be, a professional, because I'm a certified life coach, and a spiritual perspective, because everything affects you mind, body, and spirit, and that is true for narcissism, narcissistic abuse. So we're going to focus on the family roles. I've identified three roles that I'm going to discuss. Uh, this video, I'm only going to discuss one role, but the three roles are the lost child, the scapegoat, and the golden child. And those are the roles that you see in a dysfunctional family or a narcissistic family. I kind of use the terms interchangeably because everybody is not going to have a diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. But there's behaviors that are narcissistic. It's on a continuum. So some people have a lot of the behaviors and some of them have some of the behaviors. But my purpose is to help you identify your role in that family. So you can identify, is this what's going on with my life? Is this why I feel the way I feel? So we're going to focus on the scapegoat. And the scapegoat it refers to the person in the family is which is the target. It's always somebody that's targeted for the abuse, the neglect, the mistreatment. So some people might have referred to themselves. I used to say that I was the black sheep, but I was a now I understand it was more of a scapegoat, but the scapegoat is usually the black sheep of the family. And that's who is blamed for all the problems in the family. If something happens bad, they're the go-to person. They're the fall guy. It's because of the person that has been placed in the position of the scapegoat. And sometimes there's different reasons why a person may be targeted as the scapegoat. It could be because of birth order. In some families, um, if you're the oldest, you might be targeted. If gender, if your family prefers females over males, I've seen families where males are preferred, and so females are automatically the scapegoat, or it could be vice versa. In some families where there's a strong dislike for males because they might have gone through a lot of domestic violence, then the males are automatically the scapegoat and the target. It could be because of looks or appearances. My family was color struck, and they were color struck they didn't like dark skinned people. And I'm the darkest female in my family. So I was called names, black, ugly, because they were color struck. But then, as I said, in families where they have a preference for dark skinned people and the light skinned person is targeted as the scapegoat. Also, another reason is because of your intellect or being smart. And because your brain functions a different way because you're smart, you're inquisitive, you like to learn things, you might be ostracized. So that's how you became the scapegoat or the black sheep of the family. Because people were always telling me, oh, you do too much. And I would always say, well, you're not doing enough. Because I was never the type of person that could just sit home and watch television all day. I like reading books. I never really liked playing cards. I like trying new things, arts and crafts, new food, different types of food. And so a lot of times you can be targeted because you don't fit their ideal of what you should be. Um, so they are projecting onto you. Well, we don't like you because you're not like us. Well, I'm like who God made me to be. I'm who I want to be. This is my identity. So they want you to have the identity of the family. And so by the fact that you don't have that identity, you're uh, kind of tarnishing the image of the family. Or the family does this, why don't you do this? Um, so in addition to, you have to have, which I'm going to talk about in another video. Well, if you have the scapegoat or the black sheep, you have the golden child or the favorite. Well, the narcissistic parent or caregiver automatically sets it up that everything's a competition, everything is a comparison. So it's already set up that it's a comparison between the golden child and the scapegoat. And of course, you know, the golden child is always better. And a lot of times, golden children or the golden child that plays that part in the family, they get away with everything. And the scapegoat gets blamed for things, and a lot of times that they didn't do. And so, if you're the scapegoat of your family, um, just realize that in this role, it's a soul wound. It causes a soul wound from childhood, and it has effects on everything. And that's why I say narcissism affects everything, mind, body, and spirit. And that's why you have to limit contact with the narcissist, your family, and start your journey of healing. And so, if you were or are the family scapegoat, which I was, you are verbally abused, physically abused, neglected, sexually abused. And because your role is the scapegoat, um, the family makes it seem like it was okay that you were treated that way. And not only is it okay that you're treated that way, it's okay that other people that are involved in the narcissistic family treat you that way. So a lot of times they can bring in friends. They can bring in other people when people marry into the family. And they know that it's okay to treat you in an abusive manner because you're the scapegoat. Another thing is you could be mistreated because you remind them of somebody who mistreated them. So it's different layers to narcissistic abuse. But I'm focusing on the family system because it's a family disease. is generational. It's passed down. So I was the scapegoat. My son, who's no longer here, who passed, he was the scapegoat of the family. And then my brother, who was the golden child, his family, some of the members were considered to be the golden child. So they was preferred. But that started from childhood. So um, you could not only can being targeted as the scapegoat, it begins in childhood, but for others, it could start before you're born. Because let's say it was a conflict between the parents, and the mother decides to give birth to the child, but it was stress, it was trauma, it was abuse. Maybe the mother had considered an abortion. The child wasn't really wanted. When the child was born, they might have looked a certain way or didn't look a certain way. Or just like I said, gender. They might have wanted a boy and they had a girl, or vice versa. They might not have liked the skin tone, the color, the hair, different things of that nature. Like you might hear people say, well, when will the child lighten up or darken up? Or how come they have good hair and things of this nature? So a lot of that sets up you could be a scapegoat. So some of the effects of being a scapegoat is the trauma of being raised without family love. And being the scapegoat and the black sheep sets you up for toxic relationships. Um, and also the thinking that it's normal to be mistreated. So if you think that it's normal to be mistreated, then you tend to gravitate towards people, places, things, work situations that treat you the same way that the family that you were raised in treats you. Also, no boundaries or poor boundaries. Because you were just used to being abused and treated any kind of way. So a lot of times you don't know what a boundary is. And because of that, you can cause yourself self harm or self hatred or self loathing. So, this is just an introduction to the family role of the scapegoat of the family. But if you could identify with any of this, please comment below. And also, like, subscribe, and share my channel. Because as I said earlier, I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor. I didn't get this from a book. I didn't get this from other YouTube videos. I have walked this for over 60 years. And it is my mission for you to go from being a survivor to a thriver and eventually an overcomer. And and below, click on the link where if you're not really sure if this applies to you, I have a checklist that I will send you for free entitled, Is There a Narcissist in My Life? And until next time, be blessed.